What I had first was this length here, in these size plates, and I had them every second one of these circles, and that made up the full length of that. And then I brought them in to every first, which was giving you a certain gap, a smaller gap, which meant the unit then was that big, and it was placed into this. We got it?
Mm-hmm.
First one, as you can see, was that wide. The next one was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There, that wide, which is the same width as the cat.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit smaller than the cat.
So you could almost make one that'll just sit in a tube straight down.
Those 7 plates in this, are we in line?
Yeah.
Those 7 plates in this, in line, positive both ends, negative centre, produce gas off both sides of every plate tremendously.
Except the outside plate.
Except that way and that way, yes. All the way through, negative centre, and your current flowed both ways, off both sides of your neutral plates. The only plates connected are negative one centre one, positive both end ones as 7 plates. So you had 2 neutral and 2 neutral each side. So you had positive, neutral, neutral, negative. Neutral, neutral, positive. And that then run a Leyland P76 4.4 4400 V8 car.
Right, can we see that happening without just soak in the water, how all the plates are producing without being connected?
So running a car into just some hydrogen, no petrol?
No petrol.
How long?
I only went to Lismore and back. What it didn't do, Mr. Ray?
Yeah.
What it didn't do is because we had, where's that polythene? Because we had a polythene case, this here, you can't boat by hand. But when you put vacuum, these units here inside this container, the lid on, your positive and negative connected, through this tube here was your spout for taking the gas off. Your plates were down in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
This end screwed on, and an end cap the same. This one here had the gas. Showed water to the level. You getting it?
Yep.
Water to the level. This in here was airspace, gas space. Spout out here with your hose on it to your intake.
How did you connect the wires in? Through the cap ends?
Yes, I put a bolt out each end.
Right.
Through.
Mm-hmm.
I put a bolt through each end so I could hook my wires on. In the middle, from positive to positive, I just looped the wire over the top just to join the 2 end plates because I only had it connected to one end.
Right.
So then both ends. And the middle one had a bolt right through the centre, insulated, just to the centre plate.
All right.
So we had a negative and a positive
Mm-hmm.
out here and a wire over. The gas come off here. Now, on idle...
Stainless wire, was it?
No,
Copper.
doesn't matter. It wasn't in the water. It just looped over.
Over the top?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean over this way?
She looped. While the plates are in here, I just clipped it, put a little alligator clip on there,
Mm-hmm.
took it over the top and alligator clip on
right.
here. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Basically, it was not in the water.
no, not in the water. Didn't matter anyway.
All right.
Now, with this lid on, screwed down, and your tube out here on idle of the vehicle, the Leyland, this unit did not flex in or out. When you gave the vehicle a rev, this lid expanded up probably an inch to an inch and a half expansion outwards, which was very dangerous.
Mm.
The motor, instead of doing what it should have done, this is all going on,
Mm-hmm.
instead of doing what it should have done, polluted very badly, pollution, fume, smoke, everything else out the oil filler cap, the dipstick and the pollution valve in the tapper cover. The motor run, but was not as powerful as petrol at that stage with a polythene unit. The opposite happens when you use solid stainless. When you use a solid stainless cylinder, your cylinder does not expand or contract. What then happens to your motor is, instead of pressurising fume out from your positions around your pollution positions, it then has a vacuum. With the vehicle going, if you pull the dipstick out, the motor will stall. If you loosen off the filler cap, oil filler cap, the motor will stall.
That's with this solid unit?
With a solid unit, yes.
Well, with a
Yes.
solid unit, right.
Polythene has pressure out. Solid units has a vacuum pull inwards. You can put your finger over the little tiny hole in the tapper cover where just a small hose comes off and the motor runs smooth. Take your finger off, she'll start shaking like anything and stall out. She has a suction on your finger. With a polythene one, has a pressure. With a stainless one, you can increase your performance 3 times over. Power, vacuum in your manifold when you back off, speed, and you have brake horsepower. By just backing off on your accelerator, your motor will feel like your car will feel like you're using the brakes, where it's not.
Right.
It sort of works the opposite way. With a solid unit, it works the opposite way to what exhaust brakes do on a truck. Exhaust brakes shut off the flow of gas outwards so you stall your motor, and it uses the brakes to slow your vehicle down in gear. This seems to work on the intake. A solid unit works on the intake and has a similar thing. When you back off on the accelerator, you feel like your nose diving. With a polythene one, or a one which can expand, it can be thin stainless, like we showed you on that other one. It can be thin stainless which under vacuum will expand. Instead of contracting in like it should, it expands out. And when it expands out, your motor uses the gas what the vacuum pulls off. But the unit's gas, which I'm only surmising this, the unit's gas what it can put off under atmospheric pressure doesn't get used by the motor. It's the thing what expands as far as I can figure out. And then when you back off on the accelerator and then go for the brakes, you should have manifold vacuum. But what happens is that pressure in the cylinders by the bowing outwards then transfers into the manifold, and you seem to race ahead and you go for the brakes, there is none. Because you have no manifold vacuum. It's just transferred that pressure into the manifold. Where a solid unit does the complete opposite. You've got instant power on, you've got instant back off, and you also have the manifold which locks up, holding you back with the brakes on a solid unit. And you also have extra brake horsepower by your actual foot brake. Because you have instantly have that
drawback.
You have that, yeah. So solid containers are the way to go. With a polythene unit or a flexible unit, if you're trying to get your pollution down, like your exhaust pollution and your motor pollution, that is not the way to go with a flexible unit because it has pressure. Solid unit is the way to go because then she does not have any exhaust emission. It doesn't have any manifold, motor, tapper cover, dipstick, oil filler cap, any pressure in your motor at all. In fact, it has a vacuum to your motor. No oil usage. That's the way to go.
I'm just showing that I'm working, Jen. But if we can okay, hold on.
Well, I could have. The temperature, your motor should run somewhere around about 90.
This is on the solid unit,
right? On the rover. On the solid unit, run around about 90 on the temperature gauge. When you hooked up the solid unit to it, She went to instant cold. The motor just ran dead cold. And it wanted to perform better on dead cold, and you couldn't get it hot. And you take it off and put it back on the petrol, she would come straight back up to your
Hot again.
medium or normal running. She would even override your thermostat, everything. So it means that there is a reaction in the motor.
We can pull that in, can't
Well, see which plates produce at the same time. If you wanted to, I think I've got a grinder in there. You could cut some of these off.
we? Those ones.
Yeah, to all to be equal.
Yeah.
Can you get that down in there?
Yeah, it's a bit dark.
All right, try again, Pete.
Just,
No, you're not connected, well, Peter.
Righto.
Getting it now?
Yep.
See, Pete, if you had the same length tubes and you put them in the water,
Yeah.
you would fill that bucket completely. She'd just run out over the top and equally show you each side of each plate.
Well, why don't we just put it in that then? Because
Got that?
Okay, this tube's got a solid base on it.
Solid base.
that water's pretty slippery.
Yeah, don't worry. You're probably pulling the bucket apart now. Okay? We can put that into the bucket. We can put the mesh on the outside, and we can put a negative down the centre,
Right.
and both sides of this will produce in the water out here and in the water in there.
Right, there's no connection.
No connection through the water. That'd be a good one to show. wouldn't
No connection between to the stainless to stainless.
it? No.
Hmm.
Look at the centre one, which is then connected to nothing, neutral. We then have the outside one, which is this size, blocked off at the bottom, full of water. Bucket, got water in it, not connected to it. The neutral plate in the centre will produce gas off both sides, not being connected to positive or negative.
Can we put mesh in the bucket and try it that
We
way?
will when we do this next time. Will that be right?
You're rolling.
Okay.
It's producing a lot of
Did we see what happened?
All gas has just come in for a refill.
Good. Did we catch that?
Yep, it's all done.
Right. What I wanted to do was clear that, and if you could get down and see that negative neutral plate.
I need to lift it up, Joe. That negative neutral part.
All right.
I'm going to have to lift up the whole thing.
Take it out. No. What I'll do is I'll just touch on and off so you can see where she produces, all right?
It's rolling.
A lot of gas, isn't there? You see? Very low current. About, with one neutral plate, about a bit less than half the amperage use as negative centre and positive outside. When you put one neutral plate, not touching anything, your current amperage use is about half. If you put another plate in, 2 plates, it goes down half of that again and produces twice the gas.